What's good, YouTube? Dmgaming here, guys. And today I want to discuss, or rediscuss rather, DLC for Dragon Ball Z Kakarot. Now, I'm just going to show some of the new scans in the background while we discuss. So, we've talked about DLC before, but the difference between then and now is that DLC back then, our discussion was based also with the unconfirmed, confirmed Majin Buu Cell Saga kind of thing, because remember we talked about and I speculated also that Majin Buu and Cell Saga, if it's going to be in the game either way, either going to be in the base game or DLC. But with Sean Schimmel, the English voice actor for Goku, confirming or saying that it is going to be in the game, so now we could take that out of the DLC equation. And I've been seeing a lot of people ask about Dragon Ball Super being DLC or in the game. And Super is not going to be a part of the game. I would be utterly floored and surprised if Dragon Ball Super was in the game. One thing we have to realize also, movie characters aren't going to be in this game. They've already said that. Now, are they saying as far as DLC goes, or is they saying as far as the base game go? I would really take it as far as the base game go. Now, CyberConnect 2, they haven't really, even with the Naruto series, they didn't really do movie characters. So you have to take that with a grain of salt. But in the Dragon Ball community, movie characters are very prominent. Even now with Dragon Ball Fighters, they're putting characters like Gogeta and Broly and Janemba in the game. And these guys have been in the majority, if not mostly all, Dragon Ball games. So they're very prominent in the Dragon Ball Z gaming community. I would be surprised if movie characters didn't make an appearance as DLC. So I guess making a list, if I would, the top three things that I would expect or that I could see them doing DLC as. Number one would definitely be the movie characters. I think that would be the most popular one. It's tough, movie characters, because when we think of Dragon Ball Z, when we think of Dragon Ball period and Dragon Ball games, it's like I said, it's tough to picture them without movie characters in the game. Guys like Janemba and Broly, and now with Dragon Ball Super coming out, Gogeta, Super Saiyan Blue Gogeta, and the new Broly and things like that. So Bojack, guys like him, Garlic Jr., So it's tough to picture games without those guys in it. And also it would add an element to the game, especially as far as like in-game content kind of thing, or things to extend the game. Because let's be real, DLC is going to be in this game. This game is gonna have a ton of stuff to do, guys. Ton of stuff. I don't think we know the sheer magnitude of the depth of this game. Now, and a large part of that is because it's a single player game and it's an RPG. A lot of people want multiplayer, but then when they don't get deep depth of game, they complain. Well, guys, this is the benefit of having a single player game. So DLC is definitely going to be in the game. It's definitely going to be an addition and a breath of fresh air. So number one, I would like to say is movie, and you can arrange these any way that you want. This is just a random order to me. I'm not saying that any one is higher ranked than the other. I'm just numbering them. Okay. So don't think that I'm saying, oh, DM is saying, movie characters is top of the list. No, it's just number one. That's just the first thing that came to my mind was movie characters. So I'm putting that number one. All right. So movie characters is number one. Number two, I would have to say is one of my personal favorites for DLC in the game. And that would be for them to explore Dragon Ball and also Dragon Ball GT. Now, don't do that, because I know a lot of people aren't fans of Dragon Ball GT, but I love Dragon Ball GT. And if you look at the format of Dragon Ball GT as well as Dragon Ball, they're extremely similar. Even though GT wasn't Akira Toriyama's creation, people say, well, it wasn't canon and things like that. Well, that's a big discussion for another day. There's a lot of stuff in the anime that wasn't canon, because in order for it to be canon, it has to be both in the anime and in the manga. And there's differences. And this game is actually a combination of both. There's going to be elements that was in the manga, elements that were in the anime, and elements that were in one or the other that wasn't in the other. You get what I'm saying? So this isn't a canonical debate. Because you look at all the Dragon Ball games out even right now, and you have GT characters in there. Heck, Dokkan is even doing Dragon Ball Super characters in there, and I pray to God that that's not in this game. Please, for the love of God, no. But as DLC goes, for sure Dragon Ball, because to me, man, we don't have a Dragon Ball game, and Dragon Ball is based on adventure. Now, do I see them doing Dragon Ball? I don't really see them doing it because it's kind of like going in the past. Um, Although it would be cool if they did, because then it would give even more backstory to these other characters who are in the game, like Launch, Ader, Nom, guys like those, and it gives more backdrop into what's going on in Dragon Ball Z. Now, one thing that one of the developers pointed out in the interview, he said that the game would be mostly Dragon Ball Z. Mostly doesn't mean all. So that can mean 95% Dragon Ball Z, 5% something else. So, and I'm just speculating on these percentages, but what is the 5%? What is that few part of the game where mostly it's going to be mostly Dragon Ball Z or mainly Dragon Ball Z? Mainly still doesn't mean all. You know, there's still a slight number that's left out there. So what is that going to be? I would think that it would be some kind of Dragon Ball related content, only to give you more of a backdrop into what's going on with this story. Like I said, kind of like a prologue as to how did we get to this point in Dragon Ball Z. You get what I'm saying? So, but DLC wise, I would like to see some Dragon Ball stuff. I think that would be really fun. Dragon Ball is very, very good. And there's a ton, it fits perfectly with this game. Dragon Ball GT does too, because it's an exploration. You know, in GT, they were exploring a whole lot. Yeah, they had a bunch of fights and stuff like that, but not near, the fights weren't like they were in Dragon Ball Z. Dragon Ball Z was pretty much fight, power up, screaming, you know, for the whole anime. Dragon Ball was a lot of adventure and a lot of character immersion. And then GT was sort of the same. GT, in my opinion, was a combination of Dragon Ball Z and Dragon Ball. It was good exploration and adventure, and then they had some good fights in there as well. So, you know, but that's number 2 on my list. Now, before I get to number 3, guys, share this video on Reddit and all across all social media platforms. Follow me on these social media platforms as well. We're also on Facebook at Dmgaming06. And please, please, please subscribe to the channel. Guys, 50% of you are not subscribed. If you're not subscribed, click that sub button. Become a part of this community that we're doing here. So back to the information. Number 3, I would have to say, of course, everybody, you could probably predict what I'm going to say is ding, 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 Dragon Ball Super. Now, Dragon Ball Super is growing. It's been out for a while. Dragon Ball Super's been out for what, 3, almost 4 years? And wow, it does not seem that long, guys, but it has been. My, how time flies. But I would really love to see some Dragon Ball Super stuff in this. And I think that it would do really well for not only the sales of the game, but also for the longevity of the game. Because as Dragon Ball Super progresses in the manga, they could even throw the Moro stuff in here. Because it's in the manga, it's being written. Not only that, but they could also, you know, I mean, even without the Moro stuff, just doing Super all the way up to the Tournament of Power would extend this game exponentially, because the idea is not to put every single thing Dragon Ball into this game, because these games, let's be real, they can only hold so much memory, so much data, you know, before your console is overloaded and you don't have any space on your console for all the additional DLCs and stuff that are with this game. Now, the beauty of it is that the PlayStation 5 and Xbox Scarlet is coming out. The Xbox is sure coming out in 2020. These consoles are going to be bigger. They're going to be able to do more. So the games are going to be able to have more in them as well. And I don't like talking sequels because you don't know how this game is going to sell. But if it sells like I believe that it will sell, then a sequel is definitely going to be in the works. But you're looking at maybe a sequel coming out within, you know, this game drops 2020. You're looking at 2023 or 2024. Simply because they're going to have the other Dragon Ball games on a cycle. You're going to have another Fighters game come out. But you see how they're stretching that game. Now, will there be another Xenoverse? It would be utterly... I don't know. See, because the thing with Xenoverse is the story content. You need to have a story, because Xenoverse 2 had the same story as Xenoverse 1. And I know people are going to say, well, this game had the same story as Dragon Ball Z. But yeah, you're right. It does. And that's something that's not going to change. However, this story has been told in a different way, you know. And if they come out with a sequel, yeah, it's going to be the same stories as well. So yeah, you win that argument there. I'll give you that. So with that being said, what are they going to do with Xenoverse 3? Because you already have all the Dragon Ball Super characters in the game. You know, only thing I can see them doing with the Xenoverse 3 is implementing or going deeper into the Dragon Ball Super part of the time patrol and stuff like that. So this game's sequel, I mean, you're looking at 4, maybe 5 years before we ever see a sequel for this game, possibly at 3 at the earliest. I mean, you're not going to see a sequel for this game within 2 years. You could, because we did with between Xenoverse 1 and 2, but I have to digress. The way that their business model is now, and the way that they're stretching these games with DLC and stuff like that, like I said, I'm thinking maybe 3 years at the least before we see a sequel. So it could behoove them, it could benefit them to go ahead and put, you know, all of Super into the game, all of Dragon Ball into the game, even GT into the game, and movie characters. All of that could be in this game, and that is what will, in my opinion, putting all 3 into the game via DLC is what will extend this game to last 2 to 3 years, if not longer. So let me know what y'all think down in the comment section down below. I really like that. I think that basically they should put all 3 into the game. Which ones do you think should be in the game? Not which ones you want. Which ones do you think should be in the game to extend its longevity so that this game would last 2 to 3 years or until the sequel comes out? That's all I got for right now, guys. Appreciate y'all for tuning in. Until next time, thanks for watching. Peace.